and I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here.
Get out of Minneapolis? I'm sorry, Jacob Frey. I don't know who you think you are or who you think you're speaking for, but if you don't like American law and order, if you don't like that ICE is doing their damn jobs, maybe you should leave, actually. Maybe you should leave America and go join your friends over in Somalia. Welcome back to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. Obviously, a lot has transpired with the shooting, the ICE-related shooting over in Minnesota. And it's just been really incredible the last 24 hours. When I was here yesterday, it had just happened. And so we just got the video and there was really nothing else that had shaken out of it yet. And now, since we've had 24 hours to kind of digest and see everything come out and hear eyewitness accounts and get multiple different angles of the actual incident, it is increasingly incredible to me that leftists are actually trying to defend this. They're actually trying to defend that this woman who tried to ram an ICE officer with her car is somehow the victim. And the villain in this story is actually the man who had a giant vehicle being driven at him. Somehow that is the story that they're sticking to. And so I want to show you guys, okay, the shooting. Let's just revisit what actually happened. So this is, of course, the first video that came out. She is impeding ICE. She's like, what did you guys think was going to happen? She's so surprised. What did you do? I don't know. Tried to keep someone from running me over. So that was the first video that we showed yesterday, but we have different angles now. So I wanted to go ahead and do a slow-mo version of what we have here. So you see the man, she turns the wheel toward him and starts going. And it seems that like she only slips on the ice, but she's clearly gunning for him. And that's the point in which he, right in front of her car, there he is. Okay, she's coming towards me, I'm shooting. Which, I don't know how you could expect someone to not do that. If I have a giant vehicle going toward me, I'm doing that, all right? So the victim, I don't even know how I would say that. It's tragedy. When life is lost, it's always tragedy. But this is one of those things that's like, guys, I don't know. Don't do that. Don't commit crimes. Don't impede ICE's work. Don't do that. So the woman who got shot was 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good. She was, I don't know, is married, currently married to a lesbian. She has a lesbian relation. Well, she was married to a lesbian. She had 3 kids, one of whom lived with her and her lesbian wife, and the other 2 who lived with their father. I don't know why. Usually when that happens, children live with their mother. But she had 2 other kids that lived with their father. But she was there at that protest with her wife. And her wife afterwards was like, it's my fault. I forced her to come. And so this is the woman that was shot. This is the woman that was impeding ICE's, of course, law enforcement. This is a woman who was harassing them all day. And this is a woman who unfortunately lost her life due to the consequences of her own actions. And so it's just incredible to see the media slobbering all over her as if she were some hero, as if she didn't do this to herself. NBC News, woman fatally shot by ICE agent remembered as one of the kindest people. She was one of the kindest people. I mean, aside from the fact that she tried to run an ICE officer over, other than that, she was one of the kindest people. A woman who identified herself as the deceased's mother. So I love that writing there. A woman who identified herself as the deceased mother identified her as Renee Nicole Good. And Senator Tina Smith from Minnesota called Good a U.S. citizen, which is like, okay, a mother, and a Twin Cities resident. Let's go over to the Washington Post. Woman killed by ICE in Minneapolis was a mother of 3 and a poet. She could rhyme well, so you know she must have been a good gal. Now, she was a mother of 3, only apparently had one of them living with her. We don't know why, but she was a mother, and she was basically Dr. Seuss. And also, she was an avid writer and hobby guitarist who won a poetry prize in 2020, according to online records and an interview with her father. So she was like great at Guitar Hero and also could rhyme well. It's almost painful to read this. It is almost painful to read these glowing reviews of this woman who, again, I'm not like, I don't gloat in her death. I don't mock her death. I don't wish ill will on her family. In fact, I find it absolutely tragic. I find it absolutely tragic that this child that she had custody of, because the dad was dead, her 6-year-old is now an orphan. Like, I actually find that horribly sad. But I find the coverage of this in the mainstream media to just be absolutely disgusting, because I want to just kind of let's do a little flashback. Let's do a little trip down memory lane to how the media described Ashley Babbitt when she was killed. Okay? NBC News. Woman killed in Capitol was Trump supporter who embraced conspiracy theories. Ooh, she was kooky. She deserved to die. Social media profiles connected to Ashley Babbitt were almost singularly focused on radical conservative topics and conspiracy theories. Ooh, she was just a crazy right-wing nut job who had it coming. Hell, how about the LA Times? San Diego veterans' radical path led to Trump, QAnon, and a deadly insurrection. Here's the funny thing. The deadly part of it was Ashley Babbitt. That was the deadly part of it. And yet somehow she was the villain in this story. And all of the Democrats said she had it coming because she tried to she came up through that window and that officer had no idea what was in store for him. Now, she was, of course, a petite woman, and she wasn't like, she didn't have a gun that she was pointing at him, and she wasn't driving a giant vehicle that could kill you. So I'm not quite sure how in their tiny little pea brains they can justify that officer, hero, this officer, villain, murderer. I don't understand. But then I start thinking, actually, the Democrats don't have any morals or values or, like moral compass at all. They just use death to their advantage. It's just whatever is politically advantageous to them, because what the media refuses to talk about, because it would completely destroy their narrative, it would completely destroy using this woman's death to push their political ideology, is that Renee Good, she was actually doing this all day. Her and her lesbian wife spent their entire day stalking and harassing agents leading up to the shooting. Here's Kristi Noem on that.
Let's remember the events that surrounded what happened yesterday on that tragic situation, was that these individuals had followed our officers all day, had harassed them, had blocked them in. They were impeding our law enforcement operations, which is against the law. And when they demanded and commanded her to get out of her vehicle several times, she did not. So we'll continue to allow this process to unfold and recognize that these law enforcement officers every single day put their lives on the line.
Now, I already know what the left will say. They'll say, oh, well, that's just what Kristi Noem said. Prove it. Kristi Noem wasn't there. Also, Kristi Noem's a right-wing conspiracy theory nut job. So how will we know that that's actually what happened? Okay, well, here's the thing. There was another witness that was actually there, and she confirms what Kristi Noem is saying, basically. Watch.
They clearly wanted her out of there because she was the main car leading the protest, is my understanding. I talked to another guy who was driving behind her, but she was very successful in blocking traffic. She was doing what she was set out to do, and so they wanted to get her the hell out of there. Yeah.
So it looked like she was impeding ICE vehicles.
Definitely, yeah. Okay. That was her goal.
Guys, again, this is not a gloat. This is just literally like, what did you think was going to be the end result of that decision? I mean, it's literally play stupid games, win stupid prizes. And by the way, that's the more kind, less crude way of saying it. I think you guys all know what I'm thinking. So it boggles the mind. Like, this woman actually confirms what Kristi Noem just said. She came here looking for trouble. She was screwing with the ICE agents all day. She was using her vehicle to impede what they were doing. And that was her goal. She had been doing it all day. So if she's big enough to go use her vehicle to commit a crime, because it's a crime, why would you not expect, like, what this officer is supposed to be like, wow, this woman who's been screwing with me all day she just must be turning the wheel towards me and stepping on the gas in like a jokey way, in a friendly way. Maybe she's just coming to say hi. Like, obviously, the officer is going to take everything in the totality in account. And on top of that, this officer, it turns out, is the exact same officer who was very badly injured and dragged by a vehicle just back in June while doing his job.
In fact, the very same officer who was attacked today had previously been dragged by an anti-ICE rioter who had rammed him with a car and drug him back in June. He sustained injuries at that time as well.
I'm already like, dude, I can't. This guy is actually the hero. This guy, these men and women who are going out there into the streets knowing that their lives are at risk from these dumb retards who want to chase them around, who want to try to use their cars to block them. Those are the real heroes. He is the real hero, because I'm going to play you a news report from the time that it happened, and you're going to see the extent, the severity of his injuries. And I want you to take that into account and realize, what did that man do? He got right back out there and went back to doing the damn job. And there is something to be said about that. And so I want to play you the news report from when he was dragged by a car 6 months ago.
Agents were executing a warrant for 39-year-old Roberto Carlos Munoz. They say Munoz entered the country unlawfully, and he also pled guilty to fourth-degree criminal sexual conduct back in 2023 for abusing a minor. Tuesday
Real good
morning,
guy.
agents
Real
pulled
good
him
guy
over
you guys
for
are defending.
documents say he
Great
repeatedly
guy.
refused to comply before a federal agent took out his spring-loaded window punch with his right hand and broke the driver's side rear window.
As he should.
These images show the officer's hand in the vehicle. In this video, you can see the driver take off with the agent hanging from the car, dragging him 300 feet through front yards. These graphic images show the aftermath. A bloody agent who needed 33 stitches for his significant cuts.
So you have an ICE agent who just 6 months ago was dragged by a car. He's like, I'm literally just trying to, like, apprehend pedophiles and get them out of our country. You would think that we could all come together. We could all come together and we could be like, oh, well, those are definitely the good guys. The guys who are coming out into our communities, trying to keep us safe and trying to apprehend sexual predators and, violent criminals and, just illegals in general. Those are the good guys. We can all agree. Those are the good guys. No. Somehow, in leftist world, these are the bad guys for trying to keep all of us safer. And so you have this ICE agent. This is my opinion, legal disclaimer, as you guys know, not an attorney. Do feel like I know enough about self-defense to understand that this was, of course, self-defense. You have an ICE officer who just got dragged by a car 6 months ago and had to go to the hospital, and he sees a woman behind the wheel of a big SUV who starts driving directly at him. Of course he has a right to fire those shots. Of course he has a right. Of course he would do what any reasonable person would do in that situation. I would. I'm standing in front of your vehicle and you start driving at me and I have my weapon handy. You're going to meet your mate. Well, probably won't meet your maker if you're trying to kill me. You're going to meet someone, but it's probably real hot where you're going. So I don't again, all of the protests that I'm about to show you, all of the mainstream media meltdown, all of the leftist lawmakers getting very, very upset, slamming their fists about this. It's all for show. It's all for show. Now, you probably won't see cities burned down because it was only a white woman, and it's really cold in Minnesota right now. So I don't think those paid agitators, you'd have to up the price to those paid agitators to get them to take to the streets because it's very cold. But they are actually going to the streets and they're protesting, and it did get very squirrely in some of these protests. Here's some tense exchanges with people getting way too close to these officers, pushing up against them. Officers have to push back in that one. And we also had, we also had a protester burning an American flag, which is just, again, like, you, instead of just wasting all of that energy burning your own flag, you could just leave. I don't know. It feels like no one is asking you to stay. You could just leave. And on top of that, this was actually my favorite one. My favorite one was a protester tried to grab, here it is. She tries to grab the officer's weapon and he gets like tear gassed in the face. Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I was talking to Steven this morning, and he's traveling, and he was like, "Did you see this?" And I was like, "Yes." And he's like, "I'm watching it on loop right now, and it's giving me such great joy." And I was like, "I know. I want to blow up the still shot of him getting shot with tear gas in the face and just like injected into my veins. Like, can you, Fafo, dude, what do you think is going to happen? You're reaching for his weapon." Now, of course, there had to be a leftist spin on it. So what they did was they pulled an image of the officer reacting to him grabbing his gun right in front of him and said another horrifying image out of Minneapolis. Look at the terror on this man's face as a federal agent points a gun at his face and threatens his life. Enough is enough. Our government is committing war crimes abroad and murdering and terrorizing citizens at home. We need a revolution. No, now enter the image of him reaching for the gun. I mean, it's absurd. Look, he like, what did you think was gonna happen? I love you. He's like, whoa. I didn't do anything. Come on. Now, in some cases, you can't blame these dummies for going to the streets, because when you hear what these leftist lawmakers and Democrat hacks are actually saying, they're just fanning the flames. They're just stoking the flames. There's all the usual suspects are saying all the usual language to try to encourage political violence, because they are, of course, the party of political violence. And so I want to play for you Tim Walz, who, I feel like we just saw the outcome of people, quote, rising up and trying to intimidate. I feel like we just saw the outcome of that. And after that, Tim Walz is actually just calling for more people to rise up.
I want Minnesotans to hear this from me. The desire to get out and protest and to speak up to this administration of how wrong this is, that is a patriotic duty at this point in time. If you're in Portland or you're in LA or you're in Chicago or you're wherever they're coming next, stand with us. Stand with us against this.
Stand with you to against what? Apprehending criminals? It's the most absurd thing I've ever heard. And do you know what's so funny? The white people saying this, it's like, that's so wild that you're doing this for brown people or, like the people who have darker skin than you. When's the last time anyone protested, murderers, rapists, sexual deviants, if they're white and they're Americans and they have the police called on them and they get hauled off to jail? I don't see any protests there. Somehow, the people with dark skin criminals get a pass. It's wild. And then you have Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, who he's going full retard with this. Watch.
And I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here.
We want to be lawless. We like the crime. We like the fraud too. Shut up, dude. If you want to live in a communist country or something, go live in one. Go live in one. Here in America, this isn't allowed. You're not allowed to break laws. Then you've got the brother marrying Ilhan Omar, who, of course, just responded and was like, no, actually, there was no attempt to run the officer over and no ICE agents appear to be hurt. Get out of our city. But at the same time, she's posting proof that, like, he's right in front of that vehicle. It's facing him. They're just lying. He's right in front. Oh, okay. Well, Ilhan Omar said it. Don't look at the picture. Don't watch the video either, because Ilhan Omar said, actually, that's a lie. Fact check. She wasn't trying to run the officer over. Okay. The ICE officer actually went to the hospital as well, but he wasn't hurt. There you have it from Ilhan Omar, who has absolutely no reason at all to try to spin this narrative. Now you have, of course, the other usual suspects rolling out their talking points. She's just a legal observer. She's just a legal observer. Observer. Say that 3 times fast. All right. That's in my vocabulary all the time. I'm like, she was just a legal observer. She was just a legal observer. I love being a legal observer. Like, who talks like that? It's almost like there are talking points going out to everyone to just call her a legal observer over and over until it sticks. You know, the legal observers that go impede and obstruct ICE's duties and then, like, aim their car at them and step on the gas. Legal observer. Duh. I don't know. If you don't get it, maybe you're the one with the problem. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Jimmy Kimmel, who I don't even think he has a penis at this point. I'm not convinced that there's anything going on down there. He's just such a soy boy loser. I almost can't even stand to play this clip, but I saw it, so now you have to.
Now, I saw this video. It didn't look like anybody got run over to me. It looked to me like a woman got scared and tried to drive away, and they shot her. That'll be for the court to decide. I know what they're doing. They're trying out a new slogan. Donald J. Trump is going to kill you. Pretty good, right?
I'm not going to lie. I would probably buy that shirt. Like, that shirt actually seems super cool. But in all seriousness, he says, I thought that I saw a woman who was in fear for her life. Guys, she was harassing them all day. She was doing this all day. She was blocking them. Oh, yeah, she was really scared. That's why she went out there to cause trouble. That's why she went out there to break the law. She was really scared. That's what it was. That's what it was. Now, you have all of these people saying these things. They know that they're instigating. Okay, so what is the outcome of this scenario? We all know what it is. You have more people who are reacting. They're seeing the Jimmy Kimmel clips. They're seeing, all of the they're seeing that this was just a legal observer. She's just a legal observer. And they're like, oh my God, this is terrible. This is terrible, actually. We have an authoritarian dictator who's sending the military out to kill innocent American citizens. And we should do something about that. And so now you get idiots like this. We're gonna find you, we're gonna kill you, you're gonna die. They think they're the good guys. We're gonna get your address from your pension on the government database with all of your loved ones. When this is over, we're going to hunt you down. And they think they're the good guys. They think they're the good guys. They think that it was totally justified that Charlie Kirk got a bullet in his neck for speaking freely at a college campus. And somehow, a woman trying to run over ICE is the victim. I can't take it. I just can't take it. These ghouls do not care about human life at all. You know how I know? Because where were the protests in the streets when Irina Zarutska was brutally murdered by a career criminal? brutally, a beautiful, innocent woman sat on a train and died and didn't have to. Where were the protests? Where were the people in the streets? Where were the American flags being burned? Where were they? Where were they? When Laken Riley was brutally raped and murdered, just left for dead. Where were the protests? I mean, I could go on and on. I could spend the whole show going through example after example after example. They don't care about the death. They don't care about anything other than using it to their political advantage. And it's disgusting. Make sure that you are subscribed to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. Hit the like button. It'll help us. And comment. It will help us as well in the algorithm, which we all know is stacked against us. I want to thank our sponsor. We have a new sponsor of the program, Patriot Protect. So 2025 marked a turning point. Threats to privacy and security became way more powerful, more precise, and harder to stop. And it wasn't just scams. They leapt forward in complexity. AI started cloning voices. I don't know if you guys have heard the stories, but they're terrifying. They have texts coming that sound like family and friends. You have emails impersonating banks that pull people in. The people hit by these scams actually weren't chosen at random. Your personal information, your name, your address, your phone number, your family members, your age, your online behavior is publicly available, right? It's very scary. It's publicly available right now online. It's not hidden. It's not hard to find. It's just published on so many different places. You'll find hundreds of data brokers openly listing where you live, who you live with, how to contact you. And that's how scammers decide who to target. In the last year alone, 100 million Americans were exposed in the Change Healthcare ransomware attack. 73 million AT&T customers had social security numbers and passcodes appear on the dark web. I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg. So now you're in 2026. Do you want to keep leaving your information online and vulnerable? I wouldn't if I were you. Go to Patriot Protect. They're going to remove your personal data from the internet. They're going to wipe it from Google and every major website where scammers, cyber criminals, and stalkers search for targets. And here's what you can do, okay? You can go to Patriot Protect and let them help you. 2025 showed us what unchecked exposure leads to. If you want to start 2026 with less exposure, use my code Sara for 15% off all Patriot Protect plans. That's patriot-protect.com/Sara, promo code Sara for 15% off the yearly subscription. I'm having one of those and another thing moments with regard to the media, if you don't mind. And another thing, they are so disingenuous with, I mean, literally everything. It actually makes them, I do believe that they're dumb, but it makes them look so dumb that they can't understand just the basics, okay? And it's not just everything that's happening in Minnesota. It's actually what's happening over at HHS. Let me read you a headline from Axios. Kennedy's nutrition guidelines raise questions. Oh boy, here we go. There are some questions. I don't know if you guys saw, but yesterday, my hero, RFK Jr., the Secretary of HHS, put out new federal dietary guidelines. Now, he's basically, which I have been saying for a very long time, he's just taking the classic food pyramid and turning it upside down. It's what we needed to do this whole time. It prioritizes eating real whole foods, way more protein and healthy fats and vegetables and fruits. It's okay to eat healthy fats and limit carbs and grain, especially the ultra processed ones. That should not be confusing to, I don't know, anyone who's been paying attention. Like, eat real food. There's 3 words. 3 words. None of them are complex. Eat real food. Each have 1 syllable, actually. So it's 3 words, 3 syllables. You should be able to comprehend, but what should have been, like, I don't know. Maybe what they should have been confused with is the old pyramid that we were given, because, like, oh, we should actually eat, 11 servings of bread, cereal, rice, and pasta a day? I mean, that's always been absolutely absurd. And also, I just want to, just for the record, like, that's the classic one, but there have been a bunch that have come all in the middle, in between that one and this one. Like, I don't understand any of this? Why I don't know why you're climbing the food. I don't like. Are you eating the actual triangle? I don't actually know. And guess what? Neither did they. That's what you need to be confused about. RFK says eat real food. We have questions. I have questions. So it's just like, oh, he must be wrong. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's a crazy conspiracy crackpot nut job. He's not a scientist and he's not a doctor. Well, I don't know, guys. He's a 71-year-old with a six-pack. Something tells me I should trust that guy with my diet. I'm going to trust him on what to eat, especially considering that this country has been getting fatter and sicker for years under the previous guidance. Let's try something new. Let's try what the super healthy 71-year-old wants to do. By the way, they're very confused on alcohol, by the way.
As of yesterday, the federal government also overhauled its guidance for alcohol consumption. It had previously said men should have no more than 2 drinks a day, and women should have no more than 1. The new advice calls for people to, quote, limit alcoholic beverages, but sets no clear amount, and no longer warns that alcohol may increase the risk of cancer. Several public health experts the Times talked with said they were puzzled by the lack of clear-cut amounts, with one saying, the word limit isn't satisfactory. Limit to what?
Limit to what? Guys, I think we're all adults. I think we can all understand that. Listen, I love a glass as much as anyone else, but it is poison that you're putting in your body. You should just limit it. Like you shouldn't do it in a perfect world. Nobody would do it. I think that's their point. You should limit it. You should not have the 2 glasses. You should just limit it. I'm disregarding that advice. Anyway, JD Vance is this is very cute. This little MAGA Civil War. This is the MAGA Civil War I'm here for. JD Vance trolling RFK Jr. online. He posted this fancy ice cream, and said, hey, Secretary Kennedy, this new food pyramid is solid, but you forgot to include one dietary staple, his favorite cookies and cream, to which RFK responded, caution, do not take dietary advice from this guy with the big JD Vance blueberry head. So you know what? We love to see it. I love this administration and the fun that they have. All right. Want to take another quick break here. Thank our sponsor, Shopify. So I use Shopify. I was just showing Steven, we were mailing out some stuff, some merch, some sequin jackets, and some makeup that you can find at AmericanBeautyBySarah.com. And I was showing him how easy it was. And he was like, oh my gosh, this is super simple. Shopify is going to give you everything you need to sell online and in person. You can use your handy dandy app. I do most of my work from this app. It's very, very easy. And so if you're a first-time business owner, or if you have like a giant business and you're just trying to streamline things and make it easier, seriously, give Shopify a look, okay? It gives you all the tools to easily build your dream store online. They've got a bunch of templates. I am so dumb with websites and this type of thing, and I can even do it. That's how you know it's super, super easy. Go check out AmericanBeautyBySarah.com and go see how good that looks. That is all thanks to Shopify. So in 2026, if you're selling something, stop waiting and start selling with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/Sarah. Go to shopify.com/Sarah. That is shopify.com/Sarah. Hear your first. There it is. This new year with Shopify by your side. Welcome back to the show. Comedian Davey Jackson, who has been working on a really big project. We talked about it last time he was here, undercovering what is happening in Dearborn, Michigan. And he had all of these, you guys went, you're like, what is happening with this Muslim takeover? And I want to first, before I ask you these questions about what is happening in Michigan and your documentary, which I want to get to, I started thinking last time you were here, I was like, what made you want to get into this? Like, what made you go, I'm gonna investigate this? And the answer was that you basically got canceled for telling a joke about Muhammad.
Yes.
And so I think we have that. Let's go ahead and play that.
This guy got upset because I posted about Muhammad's wild ride on the Al Zut midnight train and demanded that I take it down. Obviously, that's not happening, especially because you didn't ask nicely, Champagne Habib. Best I can do is tell you another story about the time Muhammad's 6-year-old wife had to clean baby batter off his clothes. This is another historically documented incident that you can read about in several different hadiths. Here's one narrated by Aisha. I used to wash the semen from the garment of the Prophet, and he used to go for prayer while water spots were still visible on it. Ew, dude. Ever heard of a sock, bro? You can't just be blowing loads on your clothes. That's a rookie move. Now, this camel cream could have been the result of a standard gooning incident or maybe a misfire while he was banging his child bride. But knowing what we know about the men of Al Zut, this could have been leftovers from a desert bareback situation. And if you're wondering why information like this has been preserved over the centuries, it's so people can understand how to properly clean cum stains for religious purposes. So to recap, this is the guy that's mad at me, and I don't know if they took this picture before he figured out what to do with his hands or what's going on here, but I love the outdoor mask. Anyway, I hope this helps Champagne Habib, and if y'all like this, I can also tell you some weird Bible stories.
So you made a joke about Muhammad in the desert.
Well, the story goes that, he went out to the desert with one of his buddies, Abdullah, and then Abdullah watched Muhammad draw a circle around him and say, hey, don't leave this circle or you'll die. And then he goes off into the desert, and several tall, dark men, as the story goes, began to ride him like a pony and rode him all night long. And when Muhammad came back, peace be upon him, he was tired and worn out and laid down with his head in Abdullah's lap.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean...
We're not allowed to talk about that, though.
Well, look, scholars will say it's not a, valid hadith, that it's a weak hadith. But, I mean, the story's still out there, and it's been preserved for centuries.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Yeah, well, you're not allowed to joke about that, actually. You can joke about Christians.
Which I have.
You can joke about Jews. You can joke about atheists. You can joke about literally every other religion. Oh. Every other religion.
I've made fun of all Mormons. I have gone in on Mormons.
And this one, not so much.
Oh, this one, immediately. It was this Champagne Habib guy came after me. He was threatening me, trying to intimidate me, saying he was going to sue me, got me canceled. I mean, I had multiple shows canceled because of this guy.
Just that one guy.
That one guy. And then was told I could never perform in New York ever again.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
wow, you were exiled from New York comedy,
which isn't the worst thing. The Comedy Cellar is legendary. The Stand, all that. I'd love to perform there, but so he pulled whatever strings he had.
So you started going, okay, this is weird. Why?
Yeah.
Why are you guys so protective of this one particular religion?
Exactly.
And so you went to Dearborn.
So we went to Dearborn because that is the largest Muslim majority city in America. And there were already all kinds of stories coming out about it. They had the call to prayer situation getting blasted over loudspeakers. They had this name that was named after, or a street that was named after this guy, Osama Sablani. There were FBI raids, terror plots, supposedly ISIS-inspired stuff.
Yeah.
So that's what we went to investigate and just talk to some of the people there and try to understand, hey, what's going on in your city? Is there actually a takeover? Is it as bad as everyone's saying, or is this being blown out of proportion on social media? And obviously, mainstream media wasn't covering it at all.
Sure.
There was nothing.
Sure.
Just like the Iran situation right now, no one's touching that with a 10-foot pole. So people are just really scared to talk about Islam.
Yeah.
And we actually found out when we went to Dearborn, people in Dearborn were also afraid to talk about it.
Really?
We were supposed to interview a guy at a church, and one of the church administrative people found out that we were going to be doing this interview, and she was like, oh, no, you have to leave. You can't be here. And so we got kicked out of a church.
Wow.
Trying to interview a guy about what's going on in Dearborn.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense because it does feel like anyone who lives near any of these Muslim communities, whether it's Dearborn, whether it's in Minnesota, I mean, it's all of these Somali communities or Muslim, whatever you want to call them. They're all Muslim, and there's a lot of fear. Like we were just talking off air about Minnesota. Nick Shirley now has to have security because he's getting so many threats.
Yeah.
So apparently they're very violent when you call out certain aspects of their religion.
Well, yeah, because they're used to being able to use political and religious intimidation in the countries that they come from.
Yeah.
Right? Or maybe they've been politically intimidated or religious, whatever. But like Nick Shirley, he got to Dearborn the day after we left.
Wow.
He was there with Jake Lang when they did that whole Sharia law protest. With Jake Lang, I will fight that guy. That guy is a and a fraud. I do not like him, but Nick Shirley is doing some really good stuff. And it's a shame that, a bootstrap journalist like this guy is just taking all this heat for asking questions. I mean, that's insane. And uncovering all this fraud, and no one wants to. Right. Tim Walz wants to blame everyone but the actual culprits.
Right, exactly.
Bonkers to me.
I know. So you went to the city council. You spoke at the city council meeting as well. And I think that we have a clip of that. I wouldn't call them receptive to any of your concerns. Let's play some of that.
Do you think people in Dearborn are afraid to express their opinion because of fear of retaliation and targeting? Because that's really what it seems like to me. A gentleman came here, a minister, an immigrant, as a matter of fact, expressed his concerns about what was happening in Dearborn, specifically with the renaming of a street. And he was called Islamophobic, a racist, a bigot. He's been attacked online. He's been attacked in town, and he truly is living in fear. Right. Have you considered that potentially these elected officials are in fact the racists and the bigots?
Or less that you be removed from the room.
I feel like the council needs to address this to me directly. Can you please just give me an answer why this is not being addressed? If Mayor Hammoud was in the wrong, can the council apologize on his behalf, especially if he is not willing to apologize? Why can't we do this? Why can we not just acknowledge and even issue a retraction potentially?
Please sit down. Thank you.
I gotta tell you, I'm just surprised that there was like at least one white person on that council.
Yeah, there's a couple.
Looks like a couple, yeah.
They all sympathize.
Of course.
They're
of course. Well, you can't get elected there if you don't.
Right, because it's a Muslim majority city.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the same thing. You got Jacob Frey dancing on a stage with a bunch of Somalis, and it's because he relies on their votes. These people rely on those votes.
There he is. Look at him.
What a cuck. I mean,
He's such a loser.
And get some better dance moves too.
I know.
Just making white guys look bad.
He really is. Like if you have white guy moves, just don't dance.
Yeah.
Actually. So last time you were here, you guys talked about breaking into a safe house.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know. I think a normal person is like, I may have done that, but I'm not going to admit it publicly. You guys are like, no, we did it. Actually, we broke all the laws. And we now have a clip of that. Let's watch.
Dude, we gotta get the out of here.
Oh boy.
Let's go.
Were you guys scared at all?
We should have been. Probably normal people probably would have been like a little anxious about what we were doing. As when we were watching this footage after the fact, me and Gary both were just like, what were we thinking?
You had no idea what you were walking into.
No, none whatsoever. In fact, the guy that gave us the tip about this safe house was like, hey, don't go over there. It's really dangerous. Everyone knows it's really dangerous. And we were both
Don't
like,
do
yeah,
it.
we're definitely going to go check that out. Yeah.
Now that you said that, we're definitely going to go do it.
Absolutely. And the thing that you can't necessarily see it in this video, but there is a mosque directly next to this safe house, right? And there's a secret back entrance. I think we talked about that a little bit. So I hopped the fence. Gary went through the secret back entrance, apropos. But that footage that you're seeing, the best that we can tell, and I've dabbled a bit, so I've got a little bit of experience, and that is almost 100% a meth lab.
It certainly looks like they're making substances there.
They're manufacturing something down there. And
so are we looking at like a Muslim meth ring?
So Here's our best working theory. And this is after talking to a couple different locals and kind of vetting this theory. It is a working theory, and I don't have anything that I can prove it with, but we believe, or I believe, that this is a meth lab that is run by a biker gang, and that they have a distribution network set up through local Arabs. So we think it is a joint operation.
The bikers working with the Arabs.
Yes. And apparently that is not terribly uncommon.
It blows my mind. Like, it's not, that is not a relationship that I don't think anyone would expect.
No, you wouldn't until you realize that Dearborn a few months ago, there was a 2-year investigation into Arab organized crime that was stealing cars, sending them to the Middle East. And I think they did I want to say it was 40 million. It might have been 400 million. I don't know. Jeez. But they were stealing cars and sending them to the Middle East. And so they had that little organized crime ring. So once you realize that this kind of stuff is already happening, obviously we know, bikers are doing stuff like this. And then you've got Arab organized crime, and it's not that much of a stretch that they would be working together.
Right.
They do it in prison. So why not out in
You're right.
out in the real world?
You're right. And you're being sued by this owner?
That's a complicated one. They have threatened to sue me.
Okay.
But if they did, the discovery on this would just ruin any shot that they would have of doing any kind of business in this city going forward. I can't imagine that they're actually going to try to go through with that.
Okay. So
but that was some additional threats that I got. Yeah, I've gotten so many threats.
Well, okay. So obviously Davey's doing the hard work out there, getting the death threats, getting the threats to sue. Tell them where they can find the documentary.
Yeah, it's going to be on my YouTube channel. So if you just look up Davey Jackson on YouTube, it's the most recent video that we've posted. It's collaborated with Street Gonzo as well. Shout out Street Gonzo. He worked hard on this thing also. And our film guy, Joel Hodge, he just did such an incredible job. So yeah, go check it out on my YouTube.
It's Davey Jax? Is that with 3 X's?
It should be 2.
2?
Whoa.
That's why I was like,
now
you Davey?
We're getting into separate links in my bio.
XXX.
Should just be 2 X's, people.
It shows I literally, I was watching it on the monitor. I have vision problems.
It's out there.
All right. Well, make sure, go check out the documentary. I'm always happy to have you, Davey. I appreciate you. And
so much.
We'll see you next time. We'll be right back. All right, before we go, I want to just a reminder. I know I talked about Shopify earlier, but AmericanBeautyBySarah.com. Get your skincare, get your lipstick, get your bronzer. We've got it all. Plus, you have the MAGA sequin jackets, and we did just add a Melania purse that is, oh my gosh, it is so cute. And I love the looks that I get because you can either tell in the moment whether they hate it or they love it. And then make sure that you head on over to sarahmerch.com. You can't get the sequin jackets there, but you can get a load of other stuff. Support your local ice raids. They need it now more than ever. sarahmerch.com. Support your local ice raids. And hey, who knows what's in store between today and tomorrow, whatever it is. We will talk about it. See you then.